In this episode, CrossFit Games athlete Colin Bosshard shares his 5 pillars for recovery that help him stay healthy and perform at his best. We also talk about his transition from gymnastics to CrossFit, what mindset strategies you can use when you don't perform as expected, how he experienced his first CrossFit Games, and much more. This episode is brought to you by All You Need Nutrition. All You Need is a high-quality supplement brand created for those that train hard. They actually just came out with their newest product, Pure Collagen, to help sustain your muscles and joints during the hard training that you go through. Use the code UPSIDE at checkout, UPSIDE, to get 10% off for your next order with All You Need Nutrition. Now, without any further ado, here's my conversation with Colin Bosshard. For those who don't know you yet, can you give us a little intro of who you are and what you do, Colin?
Yeah, so my name is Colin Bosshard. I am 24 years old from Switzerland. I grew up and I did all the schools in Ticino, in the Italian part of Switzerland. And now I live in Bern, where I studied, and yes, I am a CrossFit athlete.
Awesome, man. How did you start with CrossFit? Tell us about your story.
So since I am a kid, I did a lot of sports. I started with gymnastics at 6, and I did it until 16, so 10 years of gymnastics. Then I stopped because of some injuries, like shoulder pain, and then I stopped for some months, like 3 months, and I was looking for something new, a new challenge, something that is a little bit like gymnastics, where you have a lot of variation. And so I started with CrossFit, but only because there was a CrossFit box near where I lived. Then I started with one session a week, then 2, 3, and always more. And now I train every day.
Awesome, man. Coming from gymnastics, what was obviously all the gymnastic part in CrossFit must have been too easy at the right from the start, or tell us about this transition. How was it coming from gymnastics and going into a sport that has a big element of gymnastics, let's call it, in its training and in competing as well?
Yeah, of course, all the body weights and the gymnastic movement were easy, but at the same time, in CrossFit, we have a lot of dynamic movement, like butterfly pull-ups, keeping muscle-ups, and I was not used to. In gymnastics, we did only strict movement, like strict muscle-ups, and so at the beginning was not that easy. I always did strict during the workouts, and I was not able to do keeping muscle-ups. So it was not an easy transition to just do the movements without looking too much at the quality of the movement. And I also needed to learn the keeping movement a little bit and how to be more efficient in the movements without using only my strength.
Did you run into any issues with that regard? For example, since you were used to doing all the movements strict, and then you went into CrossFit where there's a lot more volume as well in terms of repetitions and what you're going to find in certain workouts. Is that something that you managed from the start, or did you end up maybe doing a little bit too much of some movements in a dynamic fashion that you weren't used to yet?
No, I don't think so, because I were used to a lot of volume in my training, so was not a big issue.
What were the hardest movements that you had to learn going into CrossFit as a gymnast?
I think ring muscle ups, also keeping ring muscle ups,
Right.
and for the gymnastic part, but all the weightlifting stuff was probably the hardest for me.
How long did it take you to become, let's say, proficient in all the different movements that CrossFit usually requires?
So I started with classes. I only did classes and not open gym. So that was a very good opportunity for me to learn the movement with high quality since the beginning, to have a coach that coached me and said what's good, what's wrong. And so I was able to learn all the movements with high quality from the beginning. And this was something I am very thankful. So I don't know how much, but I think real quick. Uh-huh.
And do you think your previous experience as a gymnast with, having to learn different skills and movements, did that help you as a CrossFitter afterwards?
Yes, because yeah, I started at 6 with gymnastic. So when you are a kid, it's always easier to learn something, and you don't think that much. You just do all the movements, and yeah, because of that, I was able to learn faster, and always yeah, also this transfer helped me in CrossFit. I also had a good body awareness because of gymnastic, and yeah, this helps.
Can you, for those who don't know how gymnastics works as a sport, can you tell us about your years in gymnastics, what a training week looks like when you're training for gymnastics, what competitions look like?
So there are different type of gymnastic. I did artistic gymnastic. I don't know if this is the correct word, but yeah. And we have six disciplines. We have the floor, we have the pomelos, the rings, the um, vault, I think,
Vault, yes, yeah.
vault, parallel bars, and I bar. So we have six different disciplines. And yeah, I trained 2 times a day. The first session was during the break, so from 11 to 1 o'clock, and we did a long warm up with a lot of strength, like in CrossFit, muscle ups, pull ups, dips, and handstand, a lot of core exercises for about 1 hour. Then we did 1 hour of exercises of movement, and then I went back to school in the afternoon, and then in the evening from 4 to 7 we did a shorter warm up, and then we went to the six disciplines, and we tried new movements and exercises. Exactly. Yeah, similar to CrossFit, because you have a lot of movements, a lot of things to improve and to train. And yeah, one session is about 2 to 3 hours, 2 times a day.
To what extent was the training tailored to each individual, to each gymnast, or were you guys all doing the same exercises together, let's say as a group?
So it depends. At the beginning, when you are a child and you you have to learn all the basic, we do all the same all together. And then when you grow up, you do only the warm up and the strength part together, and then everyone is doing his strengths and his weaknesses so that he can improve on where he is not that good.
What were your favorite parts of training when you were in gymnastics?
I think the floor and the vault were my favorite, and I hated the pomelos.
Okay,
I was not
why
that good.
why is that?
Oh, I was just not good, and yeah,
And so the vault and you said the floor.
the
There's a
floor.
lot of flips involved,
Yeah,
right? A lot of
exactly.
body awareness in the air. Is
hmm
that still something that you keep today? Even though we don't find this in CrossFit, do you like to go on a trampoline, or do you like to jump in the water and do flips? Is that still something that you do?
Yes, not on the trampoline, but on the water. I like it, but I'm not doing that much. I don't want to injure myself,
Right.
but maybe after my career, I will do more of that.
Awesome. So you talked about being a gymnast from 6 to 16, right? So 10 years in gymnastics.
hmm
With your experience now, you're 24. Uh, what do you think the transfer was from gymnastics into CrossFit in regarding to the movements themselves, but also your training volume, the ability to train twice a day for many hours? Can you talk about this transfer between the two disciplines?
Yeah, so I think that gymnastics helps me a lot physically, but also mentally. So physically, because I was used to all these trainings hours, trainings volume, and it helped me also with the injuries I also knew when I started CrossFit which mobility exercises I have to do, which warm-ups exercises, and all this stuff helped me to know what my body needs, what I have to do to not get injured. So not only the movement itself helped me, but also all the rest that has not to do with training itself, but with the environment. Also a little bit with the nutrition. I knew what I can eat, what it's better not to eat to recover faster, but also mentally because gymnastics is also a tough sport. You need to be ready, and even if you maybe don't have the motivation or not everything is going in the best way, you need to push, and this helps me a lot also with CrossFit workouts, and to stay consistent even if things are not going so good.
That's actually one thing that you posted about on Instagram recently. You did a great post on recovery, right? Your 5 elements, 5 pillars of recovery. So are those some of the elements that you took, with you from your gymnastics years and that you've now implemented in your CrossFit as well?
Exactly, yes. So to be honest, when I did gymnastics, I focused on recovery, but not that much like now, because I was also younger and I didn't thought that much about this. But of course, I also did some recovery back then, and this helped me.
So let's talk about it a little bit. For you, what are your main pillars when it comes to recovery, and why are they important to you?
So I think the most important is sleep quality. Like I said on Instagram, since I was a child, I didn't need that much of sleep. But also now, if I would not train, I think I would not sleep that much. But to recover faster, I try to go to bed always at the same time, before 11 o'clock in the evening, and try to wake up between 7 and 8 in the morning, so that I have a routine. And yes, also in gymnastics, I always add a routine, and I think this is the best way to know what I am doing, to know what my body needs to do. And so sleep I think is one of the most important one. And the second,
before we jump to the next one, do you have a routine around sleep before going to sleep? What do you do? Is there something that you feel enhances the quality of your sleep?
Yeah, so I try not to have a lot of stress before I go to sleep. So I try not to use my phone, or if I'm using, not to go on Instagram or on YouTube, so that I can calm down a little bit, and so that when I go to bed, I can fall asleep faster, because this was also one problem I had, that I went to bed and I couldn't sleep for hours. And I was always thinking about something, about the day, about training, and this helps me a lot. So not using the phone helps me. So
What do you do instead if you don't use the phone?
I just stay with my wife. I talk about the day or about the future, and or maybe read something, but just not use my phone.
Are you reading anything right now?
Yes. So I started yesterday a book.
What are you reading?
It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Book,
Robert Kiyosaki, right?
yes, exactly.
Yeah, cool. That's an interesting book. Are you reading these kinds of books right now, or is it just one that you
just
picked
one
up recently?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Have you learned anything yet, or is it still early days?
I just read 10 pages.
Okay. Anything interesting yet?
Not something specific, but it looks interesting. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right. So sleep, try not to be in front of a screen, stress. I think that's probably one of the most important things, right? Regardless of what you do before sleep, is limit stress. and limit the amount of noise inside the head, because that's going to impact how long it takes to fall asleep and then the quality of the sleep itself. Okay, let's move to the second pillar or second element of recovery for you.
So the second one is mobility. When I did gymnastics, I did a lot of mobility during training, so that was not an issue. But then when I stopped gymnastics and I started with CrossFit, my mentality was I have enough mobility so that I don't have to train it anymore. And then after 3-4 years, I lost a lot of the mobility that I had. So it was important to start again and to also have a regular schedule for the mobility, not only during training, but also at home, also maybe before sleeping or in the morning after I wake up. And yeah, I think mobility is not only good for the circulation, for the blood circulation, but also to prevent injuries and also for just the well-being.
When you say mobility, can you give us some examples of the exercise that you do? Is it more, maybe some passive stretching, some active exercises? What does your routine look like usually?
So it depends a little bit. In the morning, when I wake up, I do passive stretching, and also in the evening after my training. And during the day, I do more activations. Like when I have a squat session, I do hip mobility, hip activation, or also for the shoulders, so that my body is ready to be active, to train, to lift weights. But yeah, like I said, in the morning and in the evening, I do more passive stretching.
Typically, how long does your morning and evening session last? And then during the day, what's your let's say total time of mobility work, if you had to kind of sum it all up?
So morning and evening, 15 minutes. So 15 minutes in the morning, 15 in the evening. And during the day, also 10 to 15 minutes before each session.
Right. Do you like to use bands? Are there some accessories that you use?
Yeah, so I use the app GoWard for the activation before training. And yeah, I use bands, I use the black hole.
So you got sleep, you got mobility. What else?
Nutrition, supplements. This is also something that I had some issues in the past because I am a light athlete. I don't like to eat that much. So, like when you are a gymnast, it's not that big of a problem because it's good to be light and you don't have to eat that much. But now that I am training with weights and I also want to get stronger, it's important that I prioritize also my food quality and when I eat, what I eat. Now I'm working with Bedrio from Zurich since 2 years, and when I went there for the first time, we talked about my nutrition, and one problem that I had, it was that I was not eating a lot during the day, and then in the evening I was eating a lot. And this also influenced badly my recovery, my sleep quality. So now I'm trying to eat more in the morning and more during the day, so that in the evening I don't have to eat that much and I also can sleep better.
Yeah, talk about how much food you have to eat as an elite CrossFitter. I think people don't realize that eating is almost like in parallel to training, almost as important, because if you don't eat, you can't sustain the same amount of training and the same intensity in training. So talk a little bit about how much food you're eating, how many meals, how big are your plates?
So the goal is to eat at least 4,000 calories a day. It's still now it's not that easy for me, but it's something you also have to train. Even if I don't want to eat, I have to. And in the beginning it was hard because I felt very bad, but now it's getting better. And yeah, I try to eat multiple times during the day, also because I don't like to eat that much in one portion. So I try to eat multiple times, but maybe a little bit less. Yeah, morning, then before training, after training, lunch, and then also in the afternoon, two times, evening, and then also after dinner.
Right. So smaller quote unquote meals that you can spread out throughout the day so that you don't feel like you have to eat a ton every time you sit down.
Yes, exactly. And also try to drink some shakers, for example, so that for me it's easier to get enough calories.
Right. Because the 4,000 is not an easy amount of calories to get in, right?
No, for me, no.
What does a typical breakfast look like for you? And you don't eat meat, right?
Exactly. I don't eat meat. I eat
Okay.
fish.
Do you eat eggs as well?
Yes, eggs as well.
Like a
Uh-huh.
pescatarian kind of
Exactly.
approach? Yeah.
Hmm.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I eat everything, but not meat. Yeah, so my breakfast look like some eggs. So it's not always the same. I I change between porridge or eggs, bread, and cereals. Yeah.
And that's your morning. And then in terms of lunch and dinner, do you have some kind of favorites that you favorite go-tos?
So I like pasta.
Right.
So I eat a lot of pasta, but I try uh, to have some variety. For example, potato. I also like potatoes, rice. Uh, I try to eat every day a little bit different, but most of the time I try to eat a lot of pasta.
And
It's because I
the
like it.
which is good because you need it.
Exactly.
You need the carbs and the sugars for the training.
Uh-huh.
Do you, when you say you eat fish and eggs, do you eat fish every day? Do you eat fish a few times a week?
No, a few times a week, like 2 to 3 times a week, just to get sure I have enough protein, but not every day.
Do do you know how much protein you intake a day? And do you supplement with some types of protein powders and stuff like that?
Yeah, like um, about 150, 150 grams of protein, and then also with the protein shakes and protein bars. Yes.
Do you have a what kind of protein powder are you using? Is it a plant based
Yeah, plant-based,
protein
exactly.
powder? Okay. Do you have what kind is it? Do you know?
It's from Nurturate.
Okay.
So
And
I have,
is it a pea protein or is it another type of base? What type of plant is it from? Do you know?
oh no, I don't know. Uh-huh.
Okay, but it's something you've used for a while now and that works for you.
Yeah, not a while because I use them since April, but I am happy with the products. And yeah, the beginning was not that easy with the change of the protein, but now I got used to and I feel good.
You talked about supplementation as well around that, you know, that diet that you have and that allows you to get the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs for your training. Do you have any key supplements that you use around this?
Yeah, so I try to take omega 3, some type of vitamin C, D, and also now because I got injured on the tibia, I have a stress fracture. So I also needed to adjust a little bit my supplements. And one of one of the supplements that I try to get to use more now is vitamin C.
Okay. And do you feel that helps you with your recovery and everything?
Yes, I think supplements are very important because nowadays you also, not for a CrossFit athlete you can't only take the vitamin with the food, but even if you take supplements, it's better. It helps.
Okay, so nutrition is your third element of recovery.
Yeah, exactly.
What else do you use?
Quality time. I go to the nature. I try also to disconnect a little bit with my phone and with the internet in general, Instagram. Yeah, and just be with myself or with my loved ones and just do something else than that than CrossFit.
Is that something you've always done? Going out into nature, having time alone, or is that something that you've added in recently?
I always went to the nature, but not, how can I say, not with the goal to recovery, but just because I liked it. But now it's something that I do because of the recovery, and I try to do it every day in the morning, just to go out only for 15 minutes, but so I can start the day with something good and without my phone, and to be ready and fresh for the day.
Yeah, what can you talk a bit more about what that brings you, that time outside, that time alone? How do you feel when you don't do it?
I feel like I miss something, or that I am too stressed, or that I am not with myself anymore. So if I go out, I can find peace, and I can also think about the day, or about the day that passed, and to ask myself what I can do better, what is the goal of the day, or just talk with myself.
And then how does that impact the day that follows? How do you feel when you do it?
I think that I am more productive. I I am more aware of what I'm doing, of what are the goals of the day, what I want to improve. And if I don't do it, I just live the day more casually, without a structure.
Cool. So that's your fourth one: going out in nature, spending time alone without your phone.
hmm
And what was the last one? Was the fifth one?
The last one was massage. I go twice a month to an expert, but I also try to do some recovery at home beside the mobility, for example, with the gun, massage gun, or with the black hole, or I have also the how do you say, um, the pants for the legs
Okay.
to
Yeah.
recover.
Oh, the pants. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The compression pants.
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh.
Cool.
Yeah, I try to do them every day after a big session, a leg session like squats, deadlift, so that I can recover faster. I started to do it 1 year ago, and I feel that it helps me a lot with the recovery. I can push more during training without doing to do a massage, and it's also faster, and I can do it everywhere. I also take them to the competitions. I do them always during the workouts, and this helps me a lot.
Right. So, and those are the five things that you do, I guess, almost every day. Then, right?
Yes.
If you go out in nature, you eat well, you have a good sleep, and you all those the massage or the self massage, depending on the approach, and all those allow you to go into your training in the best condition possible.
Exactly, because recovery was not always something that I prioritized in the past. After I stopped with gymnastics and I started with CrossFit, was not my goal to recover faster. Also because I had not um, that much ambitions or goals in CrossFit, so I didn't prioritize them. But now that I want to be a great athlete, I want to be at the games for multiple years, it's important that I take recovery seriously, and it's not just about training, but also about what we are doing at home.
Let me interrupt this episode to tell you that if you want to learn how to create training programs with AI in just a few clicks, I absolutely can't help you. But if you want to learn how to design fully personalized programs from start to finish for your athletes, I run a 12-week online mastermind course for coaches and physios like you who want to learn and get better. Click the link in the description to learn more and join the waitlist for the next season of the Upside Strength Endurance Mastermind. Now back to the podcast. Let's switch back to talking about training. When did you decide to start competing in CrossFit? Was it shortly after you started practicing it, or did it take some time before you started competing?
So at the beginning, I didn't even know that there were some CrossFit competitions. But then the coach, the owner of the gym where I trained in Lugano, asked me if I want to do a competition in Milan, in Italy, in the teenager category. And then I said yes. I did the qualifiers. I qualified. Then I went to Milan. I also won the competition. And I was very happy and I was motivated to do more competitions. But then
How old
came,
were you at the time?
I was 17.
17.
Then I did another one in teams, team of two in 2019. And then I went to the military service, and also because of the COVID, I didn't compete anymore until 2021.
Did you miss competition in that period of time?
To be honest, not that much. I was focused on other things, and I also didn't train that much, so I was not thinking about. But then, as soon as I started again competing, was clear for me that I want to go to the semifinals one day and then to the games.
First semifinals were in 2023, right?
Yeah, exactly. Was in Berlin. Yeah, in 2022, so 1 year before, I was at Lowland Throwdown. The competition was a little bit special because there were the semifinals and the normal competition. I was at the normal competition and I was looking to all these athletes doing the semifinals. And then for me it was clear that one day I want to be there and compete against the best in Europe. So together with my coach, we said that this should be our goal to qualify for the semifinals. And then I qualified the year, next year, 2023, for Berlin.
How did it go in Berlin?
Very good. So I didn't have a lot of expectations because it was my first time. But then I ended up in 12th place. I just missed one, just because of one spot. I missed the CrossFit Games.
They
But
took 11.
No, 11 went to the games and I
11
took
went.
12.
Yeah. Right. So you were just one spot out.
Yes, and but I was not that sad.
Okay.
I was more happy to got 12th place than to miss the games because yeah, like I said, I had not expectations. I would have not been surprised if I got last. So I was very happy, but then after some weeks and months, I thought about, yeah, I want to go to the games, and even if I was not very sad about it, now next year I want to go.
Did those that let's talk about that experience in Berlin. Did that change anything in your training and what you did and what you maybe didn't do? What changed after that?
I think that the mentality changed because before Berlin, I was just training with the goal. One day I will go to the semifinals, but was not that of specific goal. I didn't said next year I want to go. It was maybe in the next 5 years I want to go to the semifinals. So I was training, but not with a specific goal. And I also didn't know if this goal was realistic for me. But then after I missed the games by one spot in Berlin, for me it was clear like, okay, I can do it. I'm not there yet, but there is a possibility to qualify for the games one day, if not already next year. And this changed my mentality, my approach to the training, and also the way I was looking at training. I try to think more like um, like an athlete and not like someone that is doing CrossFit and sometimes he do some competitions.
So how does an athlete think?
Like not just do a workout, but think like what can I prove? What is the goal of this workout? What I want to reach with the workout? How can I split the reps, the movement? What I would do if now I am in a competition? Yes, all these kind of strategies.
So being more thoughtful and being
Exactly.
more mindful in training, putting more of your attention on it.
Yeah.
And did you see a difference in doing this in your training in terms of the results that you were getting, the progress that you were seeing?
Yeah, I saw the results, but I also saw that I was more motivated because I'm a guy that needs goals. I needs to know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So all this stuff, all this to take training more seriously helped me to also be more motivated and to train harder.
And so you talked about this mindset shift. Is there anything in your training plan or what you were focusing on that really changed, or did you guys just keep working on what you knew you had to do with your coach?
So yeah, so also before Berlin, I sometimes skipped some part of training. If I didn't like them, I was like, okay, it's not. I can also skip them because it's not so important. Even
Mm.
if I'm doing them, like I am not an athlete, so it's not a problem if I'm not doing them. But then after Berlin, we also looked what I have to improve, and we saw that I have some lack in my weightlifting, in my strength, in my rowing capacity, and yeah, we try to improve my weaknesses, and yeah, also my mentality changed regards my weaknesses to trade them, even if I don't like always what I'm doing, but yes, we change also the training.
What were typically the types of elements that you would skip in training that you didn't like?
Rowing intervals.
But you needed them.
Yeah, I need them.
So
I
now
need
you
to
do
row a
them.
lot more, like 2 to 3 times a week.
Mm. Do you have do you enjoy rowing now or still not?
Like I don't enjoying rowing, but I enjoying the fact that if I'm doing it, I'm getting better.
Mm.
So
Do you have a key session that you like to do periodically to see how you're doing, or does it change quite often?
it changed quite often.
Mm. So the rowing, the weightlifting, your strength, were those the main elements that you saw in Berlin that you had to improve?
Yeah, exactly. And not only the rowing, but the machines in
Mm.
general, because like the years before, I only trained the movements that got tested during the qualifiers, because my goal was to qualify for the semifinals. So I was not training running, I was not training eco bike, ski erg, or dumbbell bench press, for example, things like that. And then when I qualified to for the semifinals, and also the years after, I trained more specific things that are getting tested when you're at this level.
Yeah, I guess that's one particular aspect of CrossFit, even though it's constantly varied, quote unquote. The competition does change depending on what level of the competition you reach. Or if you
Hmm.
just do the open, there's a certain type of workout and certain elements and machines that you're going to be confronted to. If you do the online qualies for the quarterfinals, for example, then there's another type of workout that might come out. And when you go to the big competitions, to the semis, to the games, you have yet another set of movements and another type of workout. So what you have to train for is always changing as well.
Exactly.
Talk about your experience in 2024 regarding your CrossFit season.
So my expectation in 2024 were really high because yeah, I missed the games by one spot. So I knew that I can do it. Also my approach to the training and also to the semifinals were different. I also had a little bit more of pressure. Like the years
Mm.
before, no one was expect something from me, but now I had to prove that I belong to the semifinals and that I can also qualify for the games. I also trained a lot harder than the year before. I was feeling very ready to
Mm.
to compete, and I also had good possibilities to qualify for the games. And I started competition very well. I had some good finishes during the whole weekend. I also finished the workout with the snatches that I was not expecting to finish. But then at the last workout, I failed the dumbbells lunges multiple times. I couldn't hold the dumbbells anymore, and then I lost so many points. I got like 38 place on that workout, and then I from 7 I shift to 14 overall.
So you would have qualified if you had been able to maintain
Yeah,
that
exactly.
that place or close, right?
Because after every workout I was in the top 10, but after the last workout, after the competition, I was 14.
Looking back on this, what happened on that last workout? Why could you not? Why were you failing on those reps?
So the workout before was the one with the snatches, and in training I never finished that workout, and at the competition my time was I think 8 something, and the time cap was 11. So I was very happy, and I was not expecting to finish this one. So I think my mentally I was like very happy, and there was not a lot of time between these two workouts, and I was like was not me anymore. I was we did something else, something where else, and I was not that focused. And I also got a little bit injured on my elbow on the last snatch,
Okay.
so it was maybe a little bit too much for me mentally, but also physically. But at the same time, I was very motivated to finally and hopefully qualify for the games. But then, yeah, the muscle ups went really well, the eco bike also. And on the lunges, I was not able to hold the dumbbells anymore. And I think it was not a physical problem, but more mentally.
So you feel like because you had finished that workout that you didn't plan on finishing, hadn't finished in training, you were kind of you overshot your expectations,
Yeah.
and that put you in a state that you weren't maybe I don't know. I'm thinking you weren't grounded anymore in where you were, and you were kind of up there because you were so happy. Is that what it was?
Exactly, yes.
And then this didn't allow you to actually do what you wanted to do or needed to do on the last workout.
Yeah. Yeah, and we had only, I think, 1 hour between these two workouts. And so I didn't really know what to do, if I should be happy or if I should be more focused for the next one. And all these things were a little bit too much for me, and I was not able to handle it.
What do you usually do between events in a competition? Do you have a routine? What is your kind of step by step process from one event to the next when you know you have a few hours to recover and get ready?
So as soon as the workout finish, I try to eat and to drink as much as I can, but also not too much. Depends also how many hours we have between the events. And then if I can, I try to go back to my hotel, to my room, so that I can cool down a little bit and not be around all these people, all these athletes, just be with myself. And then I don't try to sleep, because then I feel too tired when I wake up, but I try to be just with me. And then I go back to the arena, I warm up, maybe before I eat something, and then I'm getting ready for the next one.
And so that 1 hour that you had between the snatch workout and the last one, you obviously you didn't have time to go back. I guess you barely had time to eat something, and you had to warm up already for the next one. Did you stay around with a group of people? Did you get kind of sucked into the energy that was around, or was it really just your performance on the snatch event that threw you off?
Yeah, it was just a performance on my snatch event. Then I went to the athlete lounge, but there were not many people. I was there for 10, 15 minutes, and then I went back to the warm-up area.
Mm. In your mind, what was going on when you were on those lunges and you were failing reps and you saw that maybe you weren't going to be able to get to the finish and get the result that you needed to qualify?
Yeah, I knew that I need to finish this workout to have a possibility to qualify for the games. And but to be honest, I was not even thinking that much about the games. I was more thinking about hold this dumbbell and finish this workout. And yeah, but I was just not able to hold it anymore, and I was also only thinking about this. And after when I finished the workout, when I crossed the finish line, then I was thinking more about the games, about that I missed the games again. But during the workout, I was just thinking about finish the workout.
And so when you finished it after the fact, how did you deal with this? Because obviously you were expecting to go. You had been in a great position all weekend long. You were in seventh place going into that last event, and then you dropped a bunch of places. Unfortunately, how did that affect you mentally? How did you deal with it?
Yeah, it was very hard because people always say, next year. Also in 2023, they said, next year you will do it. And then in 2024 again, next year you will do it. And for me, it was like, yeah, it's easy to say next year, next year, next year. I wanted to do it that year and I was not able to do it. And I was really sad. I knew that I everything was in my hands before that workout. But at the same time, I it was a little bit um, strange because I had the feeling that I was missing the games every year. But at the
Mm.
same time, I was thinking like, okay, 2 years ago, you didn't even not expected to qualify for the semifinals, and now you missed the games 2 times in a row just by 1 and 3 spots. So I would have been happy in 2022 to know that I would have missed the games because I was at the semifinals. But yeah, when you are there, you don't think that much about it, and you just want to go to the games and be good. Mhm.
How it's interesting because you have a very, I guess you have a very positive outlook on things, and I guess it's all about anchoring, right? Where do you put your anchor? Do you put your anchor up here and then you're down here, or do you put your anchor down here and then you're above it?
Mhm.
And so it's kind of a almost I want to say mental gymnastics, but just playing around with the thoughts of what am I expecting, what is good, what is expected, and it's interesting that you can always it's kind of the story of the glass half full or glass half empty, right?
Yeah,
Which one do you see? And it seems like you see more of the glass half full than the glass half empty.
yeah, exactly. I think I try to think positively,
Mm.
and I also think that everything happened for a reason, and maybe that year you are not good, maybe you don't qualify for the games, but it's only because maybe in 2 3 years you will be on the podium or you will be very good, and you also can learn from this experience. You can change and not qualify for 2 years in a row. Also helped me mentally try to learn and try to approach my training differently. Try to ask myself what I can do differently beside training. And yeah, there is always something you can change and improve. You just have to learn from your experience.
So Berlin, you saw that you needed to row, get stronger, get better at weightlifting.
Mhm.
What changed after 2024 semis?
After 2024 semis, I knew, okay, it's not only luck because after Berlin I was not sure if I'm really good or if I just had some luck and I finished in 12th place.
Hmm.
But after Lyon, I knew that in 5 of 6 events, I was really good, and it was not just about luck. Um, so I knew that I'm still not there where I want to be, but I am a lot better than in Berlin. Like in Berlin, I was 12th, and in Lyon 14th place, but I knew that the 14th place was a lot better than the 12th in Berlin. So I also changed some things in training, like I was still trying to improve weightlifting, my strength, and also to try to perform under pressure and to do the workouts in circumstances that are same as in the competition. Like now you have to do it and try to improve these things.
And in parallel to the, let's say, the CrossFit season, you've also been working with the Functional Fitness World Championships. So talk about that experience and how that went for you.
Yeah, so in 2023, I also decided to compete in the IF3, the functional fitness competitions.
Can you explain what it is for those who don't know it or maybe don't follow it closely?
So it's actually the same as CrossFit, but the structure is a little bit different. You always have 6 workouts or 6 tests. You have endurance, you have strength, you have body weight, mixed, power, and skill. You have always these 6 categories in each competition, but the workouts look the same as a normal CrossFit competition. And it's not a brand like CrossFit, but it's a federation. There is an international federation, and then most of the nations have a nation federation, like Swiss Functional Fitness. Then you have the European Championship and the World Championship. And I competed at the European Championship in 2023, just 1 month after Berlin. It didn't went really good for me. I had some cramps, so I couldn't finish the last workout. But I also did the World Championships twice, and I won it twice.
You won it both times.
Yes.
Is there a qualification process to get to the World Championships? How does it work to get to that level?
So we have the Swiss Championships. So you have to qualify for the Swiss Championships.
Yeah.
And then the best 3 qualified for the World Championship, and 4th and 5th do teams together.
Okay, right. So it's more of a kind of a country-focused competition, worldwide competition, where each country sends, quote unquote, a few athletes every year to the World Championships.
Exactly, yeah. But not in every country is the same. Like some countries invite the athlete, some countries have the championships. It's always different.
Okay, and so you won that both times.
Exactly.
Is it always 1 year apart?
Yeah.
And do you feel like the workouts were, like you said, they're always pretty varied? You have those different categories. Were you happy with those results?
Yeah, I was very happy, and especially in 2023, after Berlin and after the European Championship that didn't very well because of my cramp, I was happy that I could won that competition, this World Championship. And yeah, of course, the level is not the same as at the semifinals or the games, but there were some good athletes, and I was happy that I was able to win 2023. And then in 2024, I also felt very good, but I was not so able to perform very good during the weekend. But I'm happy that at the end I was able to win.
Talk about your 2024-2025 season now. Regarding CrossFit, how did your season start with the Open?
So the Open went really well. I think I had my best placement at the Open. I finished 12th worldwide with a second place in the first workout, the one with the lunges and hand clean jerks and burpees. was my best score so far at the Open. And in general, I had very good performances. And then we had a lot of semifinals this year. I decided to go to Malaga for the first European semifinal at Wadland. And I was happy with my performance, but the workouts didn't fit very well for my type of athlete. We had 7 workouts, and only one workout was longer than 10 minutes.
Okay.
And we had clean and jerk, complex to do for weight. We had heavy Linda, so
A lot of barbell.
a lot of barbell, heavy dumbbells. So the programming was not so good for me. And then I didn't qualify for the games through the Portland. Then the week after, we had the semifinals online. Normally, I'm better at live competitions than online. So I was not that sure if how I would place on the semifinals. But the workouts were really good for me. I was happy with them. I did them multiple times. I did a lot of redos. But at the same time, I felt very tired from the week before at Wadland.
I was gonna say 1 week after a semifinal competition is not easy. You're still carrying a lot of fatigue physically and probably mentally as well.
Yeah, because the competition finished on Sunday. I did rest on Monday and Tuesday. I did some activation on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I felt very good. But then on Friday and Saturday, I felt that I was not that fit as I am usually. So I tried to recover a little bit on Saturday, and then I did 4 workouts on Sunday. And then I was able to qualify.
Nice. Well, that's congrats, because that's not easy to do just 5 days after a big competition, right?
Yeah, it was not easy.
How did you deal with it mentally when you knew that Saturday you weren't feeling good and you weren't, at the level that you wanted to be? Did you feel a bit of a rebound on Sunday? Did you feel better, or did you just have to push through it despite not feeling great?
No, after I took some rest on Saturday, I felt very good on Sunday. I also knew that today was my last possibility to qualify for the games, and I was not willing to miss the games again. So I did everything I could to qualify. Also because I knew that the week after I was not at French Showdown, but at the fitness project in Indianapolis.
Right.
And so I did everything to qualify.
Yeah. Well, congrats. You qualified, and you went to Albany, New York. Talk about that experience going to the games for the first time.
So going to the games, I felt very good. I was not injured. I had not pain. And I also tried some workouts, the workouts that got announced before. I felt very good about the workouts. So yeah, I went there with high motivation, with feeling good, and know I can push all the weekend long.
And then how did your weekend go?
Went really good. On the first day was a little bit special because it was my first day at the games, and in the first workout I started a little bit too fast on the endurance workout, and I pushed myself a little bit too much, so I lost some points there. But
was it the run that you started off too fast on?
Yeah, exactly.
Was it just the adrenaline?
Yeah, just adrenaline. But then I had a very good finish on the second workout. I finished in 7th place.
Nice.
And yes, I had some difficulties with the backboard on Saturday. It was very slippery for me, also for the other guys. And I also lost a lot of points there. But overall, I am very happy with my performance and also how I approached the workouts.
Cool. How did you place in the end?
17.
17th for the first CrossFit Games.
Hmm.
But you're happy with that?
Yes, my goal was top 20,
Top 20. Nice.
but I was not sure if I was able to do it. But I have to have a number in my mind to be able to push.
Hmm.
So I said, okay, my goal is top 20. So I'm very happy about my overall finish.
What was your favorite thing about the weekend as a whole?
I think the whole experience, just to be there and compete against all this guy, and to it was my second competition outside of Europe after the World Fitness Project in Indianapolis.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes you see these guys, see these athletes in television, but you you don't really know how strong they are. But then when you are with them on the floor, you see that they are another level, and it's cool to be there and to go back home and try to train hard and be even stronger the next year.
What was your favorite workout at the games this year?
The second one, the one with the crossover double unders
Right.
and shoulder to overhead, torso
Yeah.
bar and wall walk.
Okay. And what lessons did you learn? What did you take away from this competition regarding your training? What you needed to improve on, to work on?
I still need to improve on my strength, on my power output, on my weightlifting, but I also think that some some part of my fitness are very good. I can compete against the best one, but there is still a lot of work to do and to improve. But I know that I am on the right direction. I know that what I'm doing is good. I just need to keep going and eat more, try to do good little things to improve in the future.
And like you said, in parallel this year, you've also been doing the World Fitness Project.
Hmm.
How was your experience in Indianapolis?
Was so the competition was very good, but after Malaga and after the honor semifinals, I was very tired, and already there I knew that I qualified for the games. It was not official yet, but I knew that it would have been official soon. So I I also tried a little bit not to injure myself
Hmm.
because I know that after the Indianapolis competition, I would start my games preparation, and this was my focus. So yeah, I compete, I try to do my best, but at the same time, my goal was just not to get injured so that I can start as soon as possible my preparation for the CrossFit Games.
So you were kind of holding back just a little bit so that you knew you could focus on the games afterwards.
Yeah, so not holding back, but I still did my best at every workout, but at the same time, I knew that this is not my goal, it's not my priority, and after this competition is not finished, I still have to train for the games, and this was my big goal. So I wanted to make sure that I am ready to train for the games.
Did you take some time off after the games, or did you get ready for Did you go to the second stop as well
Exactly,
for
yeah.
World
The
Fitness
second stop
Project?
was 4 weeks after the games.
4 weeks. Okay.
So
Nice.
I took a little bit of rest, but not that much. Mm, Also, when I started again with training after the games, I knew that uh, I have some pain on my leg.
Okay.
So I had to adjust my training. I couldn't jump or run. And I tried some of the workouts, but not all of them. And I went there at Arizona for the competition, but I wasn't feel very good.
Do you think it was I guess the combination of a long season of big competitions back to back that you
Yeah,
had to
exactly.
perform in as well? And so you said you already felt some pain in your leg after the game. Did you feel it at the games already?
No, at the games, no.
Mm.
On my first training after games, I felt it on the double unders,
Okay.
but during the games or after games, no.
Okay. And so you said now you're so recovering from that injury. When did you have to really change your training after you realized that that was something that you had to take care of?
Yeah, so after Arizona, I took an MRI,
Mm.
and then they told me that I have a stress fracture, and so I started to adjust my training for 6 weeks, and I started again last week with a little bit of weightlifting, with strength, but on September and in the beginning of October, I only trained my upper body, some core, and a little bit of endurance.
So, what was the hardest aspect of that time trying to manage that injury?
It was hard because um, the last 6 months I had not a lot of time to train, just to train and to build. I was more preparing for a competition, but
Mm.
not actually training.
Mm.
And I was very looking forward after the games to start again, to build something, to start a new cycle, strength cycle. So this was hard to know, okay, I'm not there yet. I have to take some break, but now I'm happy that I can start again and to prepare for the final in Copenhagen
When is Copenhagen?
in December, in 2 months, on the
Okay.
18th of December.
Do you feel that gives you enough time to come back at your best level?
Yes.
Cool. Are you able to train fully right now, or are you still progressing back into the jumping and the running?
Yeah, I'm still progressing with jumping, running, and weightlifting, but I am every day I'm doing more, and I think that in November I can do everything.
Back to full training. Do you have any advice for anybody who would be maybe going through something like this right now, a stress fracture that takes a bit of time to recover from? What advice would you give to people?
Like especially on stress fracture, it's important not to it's important to recover because maybe you don't have a lot of pain, so you think you can continue to training and do all the stuff, but if you're not training, taking a break, it can get worse in 2 3 months.
Hmm.
So it's better to take a step back now, to be a little bit patient, but then it will be better and you can do everything soon again.
Looking back at the season, do you have an idea how this stress fracture happened? Why it happened? Do you think it could have been prevented?
Yeah, so like I said before, uh, I didn't really train for running because I didn't qualify for the games, so it
Mm.
was not my priority. But after I qualified for the games, I started to running more every week. And 2 weeks after I qualified, they also announced the first workout with 4 miles run, 3 kilometers row, 2 miles run. So I knew that I have to get some volume in on my running sessions. And then I started, and I think it was a bit too much. I was not used to, also because
Mm.
I am a decent runner, so I didn't run a lot in my past, and it was maybe a little bit too much.
Right, so a bit too much volume all at once. That I guess you weren't used to because you didn't do as much before. So
Hmm.
kind of a big uptick in volume on the running is probably what led to that.
Exactly, and then he also announced the workout with the double hands crossover. So at the same time, I was also jumping a lot, and yeah, I think it was just a combination between running, jumping for 3 4 months.
Yeah, that would make sense. That lines up.
Uh-huh.
What are your goals for this coming season, Colin?
So I have two goals. The first one is to qualify again for the games and to be better than this year, so better than a 17th place. And the other goal is to take a pro card for the World Fitness Project.
Can you talk about the World Fitness Project next year and how it works?
Yeah, so 20 people will get a pro card
Mm.
for the next season,
Mm.
and these 20 peoples are the best from Tour Stop 1, Tour Stop 2, and the finals in Copenhagen. They take all these scores together, and the top 20 will get a pro card for next year.
And how are you standing currently with the stop 1 and 2?
Actually, not that good, but I think 20, 25, 26.
Okay.
But the finals count double.
Okay, so you have a chance to pull yourself back under that.
Yeah, and
that
you have
line
also
20.
a lot more workouts. I think 9.
Okay.
So
Is it a 3-day competition?
4-day.
4-day competition. Okay.
Yeah, we have the swimming on Thursday and another workout, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay. Do you have are the workouts announced yet, or?
No, I think one
Okay.
got announced, but the other one no.
And for the previous stops of the World Fitness Project, do they announce them all before the competition, or is still some element of surprise on the day? How does that work?
Yeah, they announced it. I think 3 weeks before. I remember that I was in New York, and they announced the workouts for stop 2.
Okay. What do you consider being the things that make you successful in training and competing? If you had to pinpoint, what do you do that makes you good at what you do?
I think discipline, just to be consistent every day, and I don't think you don't have to do a lot, but you have to do every day something, and all these little things like nutrition, like recovery, warming up good for a workout. I think all these little things makes the difference. You don't have to have fancy things or to do crazy things. You just have to do the basic and do them every day consistently, and yeah.
What advice would you give to CrossFitters or athletes that have high goals and want to perform at the highest level?
To have a plan, to write the goals, so that you have a vision in mind. You know what you're doing. You know why you are doing it, and like for me, it helps to know what I'm doing. Like not just training because you have to do a workout, but know the purpose of your training. Know what you're doing.
Colin, if people want to follow your adventures in the fitness world, where can they find you online?
They can find me on Instagram, Colin Bosshard. Yes.
Fantastic. I'll put the link in the description. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a
Thank you
pleasure
very much.
having you on and chatting about your experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right. I'll see you around, man. Take care.
Bye. See you. Thank you.
Before I let you go, I want to tell you a little bit more about this podcast sponsor. All You Need Nutrition is a high-quality supplement brand proudly made in France. When they first reached out to me, my wife, who's a trained nutritionist, had a lot of questions about the different ingredients that they use. So we scheduled a call with Miriam, the mastermind behind the entire All You Need product line. After the call that lasted almost 2 hours, my wife was really impressed by their transparency and the quality of their products. She was excited to work with a brand like All You Need. And if my wife says yes to a supplement brand, I'm on board without hesitation. Personally, I love their whey protein. I use it after every strength session or mix it in with my yogurt in the morning when I want a little extra protein. It's not too sweet, the cocoa flavor is delicious, and it blends really well. Their one product is fantastic if you're looking for a light energy boost plus all the vitamins and minerals you might need if you're used to training hard. My wife sticks to 1 scoop, but I go for 2. Make sure you find the dose that works for you. And special shout out to their shaker bottle. It's literally the best shaker I've used in the past 15 years. We've been using their supplements for the last 2 months, and we're genuinely thrilled to be working with them. If you want to support the podcast, click the link in the description to check out their whole product line and use the code UPSIDE for 10% off on your next order with All You Need Nutrition. Take care and see you in the next episode.